And we're live.
I'm looking forward to being in a snow climate. I'm like, I was looking at like houses, and I'm not sure how I'm going to make the initial move. I'm thinking about that a lot.
What's the
Because
challenge? Like, why is that
all
hard?
right, so I want to go like as soon as possible, right? But like stuff needs to be like parts need to be moving before I move. So like for one thing, I do want to buy a house there, and I plan to buy a house there. But part of me
Where?
thinks Colorado. I'm moving to Denver as soon as I'm off federal probation, which is I'm appealing to get out of it early. You can do that after you've done 50% of your time, which happened last October. But the court system's jammed up because of COVID. It's like I can't get a hearing. But October 8th, I think it is. I'm done no matter what. So what my thought is, I do want to buy a house there. Probably not in Denver because that housing market is crazy. Like $500,000 barely buys you a decent place. Like I would be stepping like the house I'm in now would cost like $800,000 in Denver. I don't want to spend $800 fucking thousand on a house. I'm looking more like four, something like that.
Describe
In
your
any case,
neighborhood.
my current neighborhood,
No.
my potential neighborhood, the neighborhood I
Your
would like to
desired
have.
neighborhood.
I'm not picky about that at all. I could be in a subdivision. I could be sort of like in the country. That obviously I have to have fast internet, and that is really my only concern. Now, obviously, it would be nice to have like grocery stores, restaurants, like community stuff where like there's women and shit around. I don't want to be in the middle of nowhere where like I got to drive down a mountain 30 minutes and then 30 more minutes into town to get laid, right? I'd like to be in a city-ish area. Just
Aspen.
maybe not downtown Denver because that's crazy expensive. But like I've looked at Aurora and like dozens of other suburbs that are within 45 minutes of Denver. And that's the general perimeter that I'm looking at.
Okay.
The real question is, what is my initial move? And I mean, like literally and figuratively, my move. Because like I got all this furniture here. That needs to come with me. So I'm thinking like maybe I rent an apartment for a few months and move all of my shit into an apartment there, or rent a house, which is like what I'm doing right now. And once I'm like settled and I'm there and my shit is in that state, then I can start like house hunting, because then I'm able to like go to houses and like tour them. If I'm trying to buy a house across the country, that's weird, right? If all my
Wait,
shit's
I agree.
here and I'm
I've moved cross countries a couple times, even through countries. Like a couple things that I agree with is like I have a hard time. I need to visualize, right? You want to visualize where you're going to be or whatever. But I think there are two different steps. I would say put shit in storage where you're at right now. Maybe find a temporary place. If you can get a 6 months lease, that's blessed. And then I say plan a trip and go literally for 10 days or whatever, check out every house you wanted to. Because once you get it, that still might be 6 months until they're willing to release it, you know? And you can
Mhm.
put your shit, I'm sure a ton of your stuff could just go in a fucking storage space, like a big ass thing, and
Are
just
you
sitting there.
Can I
And
jump
what I
in?
could do, there's this like I looked today, there for like 2,000 to $2,500, roughly speaking, they will put all my shit in a cube and ship that cube to Colorado. Like
Definitely do
so
that for
so I could
sure.
do that. And I also looked on Airbnb, you can do like 1 month plus stays. And that if I were gonna move and like for anyone out there who rents right now, look at Airbnb month to month stays. They are far cheaper than like apartment and home rentals. Like house rentals in the general area I'm looking at, like it's going to cost 2,000 to 2,500 a month to get a what I would consider like a decent, nice place. You know, that's got like a nice gas kitchen and like a couple of decent bedrooms. It doesn't look like shitty. I don't know how else to put it. Like low income, like shitty. Like $1,800 is like there might be three places on every website conceivable for rent at $1,800 that you'd even consider. You're still going to be like, oh, that bathroom's kind of small, and I don't like how that it's a shower curtain, not like a sliding door or a swinging door. It's like shit like that. But on Airbnb, when you go to the monthly stays for like $1,400 to $2,000 in that price range per month, they're really nice places. Like they're acceptable. So that's a thing too. I could like stay in an Airbnb furnished with my shit in storage, potentially out there while I house hunt.
Mhm. Yeah.
That
Okay, that works too. I just think like, definitely take the time to find a place, you know what I mean? And you
Yeah.
want to get inside because I don't know if you're like me, you could get in there and be like, this place is haunted. I don't want it.
I don't believe in ghosts, but you never know what it's going to smell like, right? Like
Oh, that
I
too.
bought this,
Cigarette
or
smokers or
I signed this lease sight unseen. I showed up to this house and there was like the guy from the agency here, and he's like, "Well, you know what the place looks like, so no need to do a tour or anything." But here, I'm like, "I've never been here before in my life." He's like, "Well, you saw it online, right?" I'm like, "I saw the price and the square footage, and I signed." I was like, "You have no idea how hard it's been to find like a house in a decent area for like less than $2,000 a month. This place is like 1,500 a month." Like, I just signed, like, and I love this house. Like, this is like a 4-bedroom house with like a nice-ish kitchen and really nice bathrooms. And like, this is like, I'm in my bed. I've been through it several times. I've got an office on the other end, but I'm in my bedroom because I had that whole air conditioning snafu, and I've been too lazy to move this huge setup. But in any case, it's like big bedrooms. It's everything I love this house. I would buy this house if this was an area that allowed me to smoke dope, but it's not. So we're making a move.
Yeah, you kind of went the direction I was going to suggest. Are you familiar with pods? PODS?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, so they kind of do what you need. You pack up a container. I think they store it. So like, if you wanted to stay in an Airbnb for 2 months, all your shit's in that box, and then when you buy a house, they bring the box to your house and you unpack it, and it seems like the mechanics of what you're looking for.
Yeah, I think so. I've looked at the real estate market there a good bit. Like I said, the suburbs of Denver, within 45 minutes in a perimeter, and it's there's some really nice places. Although there is this weird thing where it's like at $350,000, I'm like, I really don't like any of these houses. At 450, I'm like, oh, I love these houses. This is perfect. At $600,000, it's like, oh my fucking God, this is 3 times as much house. Like when you go from like 450 to $600,000, it's like going from like middle income housing to mansions with cathedrals outside. There's a $600,000 house just outside of Denver that has like this Roman architecture like thing in the backyard. Like they built the Parthenon in their backyard with big marble pillars, and there's like fountains in the yard that look like something out of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And it's like big winding staircases going up. The kitchen is like 800 square feet. Like the bathrooms all have big jacuzzi tubs and marble heated floors. And it's like, oh my God, for like $150,000 more, you're getting 3 times the house. It's
You think you're gonna
absurd.
go that route?
I
I'm
think
sorry,
what I'm
Taylor, can you
actually
say
going to
that
do
again?
is, I think he asked if I was going to go that route and spend 600, and I'm not. I think what I want to do,
because that's a
is-
lot of space for you.
yes, it's way too much square footage for one thing.
Yeah.
Like I think what I'd like to do is, because I think the housing market is probably down because of COVID and everything. I think maybe get a place.
condos are down. Like people
Yeah.
usually
Oh,
are in
look
the
at that.
cities big time.
Right now, it's a seller's market.
Well, I don't give a fuck. We'll see what October brings. I'm going to buy a
That's
house
what
either way.
That's what I said. Yeah.
But I was thinking like buy a house, hang on to it for like 2 years, buy another house, and start renting out the last house, and maybe do a little real estate. I mean, that seems like such an easy sort of investment to do. It just seems like it fails once a decade, but then it recovers 3 years later. So it's like,
Every single mom can do it.
what's that?
Every single mom can do it. You can.
Every single mom can do it. No,
It'd
I'm
be
not talking
nice if
about
you could
fucking
live
becoming a
there
real estate agent.
for
I'm
6
talking-
months.
I want to imagine you setting out cookies and
yeah, I'm gonna get my Mary Kay business rolling too.
No, you know what, Kyle? I'll be Hugh Honey or Vic Vinegar. You can be the other one. You can have the pick.
I'm Vic Vidic.
All right, I'll be Hugh Honey.
This
I'm nicer
doesn't mean
anyway.
anything to me. Who are these people?
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They posed as real estate guys.
Honey and Vinegar Realty, where he's like, "Oh, do you?" Janice's like, "Oh, just come on in, guys." And then Max like, "You gonna buy this house?
You're gonna buy this house.
I'm gonna take you by show what it's like to be inside a really big house."
When I moved to North Carolina, we were looking at houses, and I sort of gauged them by how far they were the drive from work. And the house we bought and ended up living in for like 15 years or something. It was nice. It was fine. You've been there. But if we had been like 3 miles closer to Cisco, it was an entirely different and better community. I didn't realize that this 2-lane highway was a real like unofficial divide in the like statuses of the neighborhood.
Well,
And
poverty line.
so the place
that's
I
a
lived
bad
wasn't
phrase.
bad. Like, you saw it, but
I liked your house. It was very nice.
it was a comfortable place to raise a family. But
Sure.
I guess I'm saying like it'd be cool if you lived there for 6 months. So you got a lay of the land, and you would kind of know like, oh yeah, it's stupid, but this railroad track really divides one side of town from the other, or whatever it is, and you learn like what's important and what matters.
Sure. Yeah, I have different concerns than I think a lot of buyers, like school systems and all that stuff are actually a downside for me. So, oh, it's a mile from the nearest school. And I'm like, well, I could get laid, but also in a lot of trouble. So maybe not, you know, I don't need to be close.
Keep me
I don't
away
need that
from these
temptation in my life
elementary
again.
schools.
Did I mention that I'm an ex-con? I don't need that temptation again. Not again. Never again. They make me take these pills. Are you familiar with chemical castration? The real estate agent's like, all right, we'll find a different area. All right, calm down.
You'd like a mountaintop.
So yeah, like my main concern is internet. Like if I could get gigabit, I'd be so happy. I've got gigabit here and I'm so happy with it. Like I can do everything, right? Pardon?
I think Denver's one of those cities that has good internet. Like
I think so too. Yeah.
That was a deciding factor for me for purchasing the house. I came across 3 houses that I very much loved that were easily within the realm of what I would pay, and I was excited about them. And then I go on to, there's only one internet service provider here that does like the 1.5 gigabyte, and I like look it up, and it would be annoying because I'd have to check that first. I got to the point where I would check the internet first. And that's why I ended up coming back to Montreal. I was near Toronto, and outside of Toronto, there's like nothing, like literally 10 megabytes, 20 megabytes.
Jesus.
And there's just no way. Like I gotta stream while jerking off and like uploading, and my buddy's on our Wi-Fi. Like it's all gotta happen.
Yeah.
And that literally internet decided where I lived.
Yeah. If I don't have at least 3 screens to distract me at any given time, I might start to dwell on my life and get sad.
You don't want that good enough that like 2 other people can use Netflix and you don't care in a shooter, right? That's what gigabit gives you that 20 doesn't. Like you can probably, what does 20 megabit limit you for? You can, Netflix caps out at what, like 5?
Oh, it's more than that, right? I thought it was 15. Yeah.
Maybe
like 4K?
Maybe I'm out of date then.
I might be wrong.
Even if it's 15, that's less than 20. So you can do 1 stream. But like, I want 2 4K streams.
Yeah. Uploading your video.
So much headroom that I can still play shooters.
Yeah. And I want some wiggle room for their bullshit. Because if they promise 100, I'm probably going to get 70 at the like worst of the worst.
I saw a TikTok that speaks about unlocking that. Apparently that's a thing built in Windows 10, reserves 20% of your bandwidth for their automatic updates and stuff like that. So really? You 20%, and you turn it off on your computer. It's like reserves 20% of your bandwidth for Windows services, and your computer is doing that. So I saw it on TikTok, so it could be bullshit, but he clicked through some shit on the computer and looked like it.
So yeah, internet's the main concern. And honestly, it sounds ridiculous, but like a dispensary nearby is a concern because I'm going to be going. If the fucking dispensary is 15 minutes away, that's no good. Like there needs to be a dispensary 5 or 10 minutes, or someone who fucking delivers dope.
Kyle, you're gonna be loading up all the time. So
I'm going to be growing. We will be manufacturing.
An entrepreneur over here.
I can't wait to come hang out at Kyle's house once you got this all. Just get fucking zooted for like 5 days straight. We can both reinvest thousands of dollars into physical Magic cards.
Oh, absolutely. I'll build a Magic table. Yeah.
So you'll play with us too. You have to.
I'll play. I'll try.
Dude, we could teach you to play, and like it would take about 10 minutes of refreshing for me to be like, yeah, all right, remember it all. But like you'll pick it up in 40 minutes. You'll be playing, and you'll be like, oh, that's.
You know, when you want someone to play a game, you know they're going to have a good time with it. I really do think this is a game you'll have fun with, especially in like a physical, like.
I hope so. I hope you're right. I hope it's not that situation where you're like, Taylor, this video is so funny.
Oh, yeah.
No, wait, just wait for it.
Yeah.
It's not funny.
You're still telling someone a story, and they're like 4 that's cools in. You're like, I'm losing them.
You're like, that was the funny part. I'm just killing time now. Oh,
How about those blues?